fresh off the heels of our Health, Wealth, and Happiness Mastery training, where we dialed in how to attract the right people in your life and repel the wrong. And I think from the feedback so far, we crushed it. So we're going to just forward this conversation right into how to attract the right customers and repel the wrong. I'll be leaning heavily into illustrations in my life over the last, since 1988. So what's the math on that? 30 some years. And I made, in the 90s, made a lot of wrong moves here, cost a lot of unnecessary energy, probably a couple of relationships, because I did not dial this topic in. Didn't have any frame for it, actually. So this is dedicated to all the people out there starting their business or are in business, and they've got negative, neutral, predominantly, we talked about this in our Health, Wealth, and Happiness training, predominantly people living below the line. We'll go back over it today in this training in a little less depth. So if you haven't watched the previous training today or didn't participate in it, please watch the replay of that to get more depth and articulation about the humanity of this. This particular training will be into the lens of really application through getting the right customers, finding the right customers, attracting the right customers, keeping the right customers. And again, right's defined. We'll go through a co-creative way of defining right for you. And then repelling the wrong. It'll be very clear when you put this into your, we'll call it sales process, we have that here, but also we put it into your online presence. What I like to say is your healthy online presence. That means in your website, it's interspersed in your blog, it's in social media. It's like the core values of you in your business, if you're an entrepreneur or a small team or a small business owner, are so clear. People feel them through the words you're saying, the energy you're exuding, that the people that receive that information know on the other side of it, you know what? These people don't feel like the right fit for me. And not in a bad way, in a good way. And what I mean by that is there's people that I've worked with who came into our office in our training room where we would do our discovery sessions back when we were in a massive launch for customer acquisition, that came right in and they were just, core values were off. Their traits, their qualities, their characteristics, their languaging was just not compatible with how we do business. And I could detect it fast. But it was because I did the work. This was in the tens. Throughout the zeros and the early tens, as I got into high performance, it really helped me get depth and articulation and like qualification around who I wanted to be in business with, who I wanted to serve, who I wanted to help, and who I didn't. Does that all make sense? Oh, this is so powerful. Such a critical conversation if you're, starting a business, definitely, but if you're in business and you're sensing like, I like the work I do, but the people that I'm working, that have like become my customers, some of them or many of them or a couple of them or one of them just got to go. And I don't know how that, I just have a feeling about that. I don't know how to qualify it. We're going to shine the light on that today. So I'm so excited to be here with you. As I've mentioned, and I talked about this in our previous training today, a lot of this work, when we talk about the sensory, the intentionality, the going after what we really want to go and get into in terms of our being, our psychology, our physiology, our productivity, our persuasion, meaning helping others to others' benefit, that kind of thing. That's how we kind of look at persuasion. And our purpose are all driven from the high performance conversation. So if you haven't been part of our high performance group coaching or haven't been coached high performance one-on-one, there's an application below if you decide that you want to gain more clarity, more energy, more courage, more productivity, more influence towards the end of really knowing who you are and what you're about and standing tall and strong in it, going after the dreams and goals that you want to go after, like just advancing towards them, overcoming self-sabotage or relative sabotage, meaning from other people in your life. I've dealt with this. I believe I'm almost to 4,000 high-performance coaching sessions, 4,000 hours serving hundreds of people over the last 9 years now, I think. And the idea is that, not to say that to brag, but I'm so honored to be able to share that with you. But the idea here is that we want to be real clear for you that there is a path where you have much more perspective and depth around what you're trying to attract and who you want to be and who your team should be than what's kind of dumped on us as an average format of the way we've just accumulated information and so on. So it's like the fast track to a lot of the stuff I'm going to cover today. If you have any interest in that, application below. Also, I'll be happy to send you a copy of High Performance Habits, because that'll get the conversation started for you and really help you kind of dial these things in. So I can do that on Kindle. I can do it on, I think, iBooks on the Apple ecosystem. We can do hardcover, whatever that is for you. I just want to make sure that you're getting some clarity out of the gate, especially if you're in business. This is critical. This reduces the possibility, and let me just give you an illustration right out of the gate, of risk, responsibility, and liability, because you're not dealing with certain people that you've qualified as people that aren't your fit. What I mean by that is this. There are a few people that came into our discovery meetings, our training room, as it were, and right out of the gate, within 5 minutes, they're like, yeah, if you guys don't get this right, we'll probably sue you. If you don't get this right, we're going to be unhappy. And they had that kind of energy, and they said the S word, sue. And that's an immediate, when I look at the right customers repel the wrong, that's languaging that they use that is an immediate repellent. As soon as they said that, and I confirm that through, and I want to give you this right out of the gate, you're 3 questions away. Let's do it this way. Get your notes out if you don't have them out. If you need to pause the video, go ahead, or watch the replay and pause the video, whatever that is for you. You're 3 power questions away from an exceptional business. The moment that I heard the word sue come in, they didn't sense this, I don't think, but I stopped kind of the dialogue where I was going in our sales process, and I said, hey, wait a minute. Tell me about times you've sued other companies and why. Like, I was curious about it. And they lived, as we talked about in our previous training, from a world of blame, excuse, denial, neutral, negative energy. And they were like telling it like they were bragging about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, see, the people that we choose to work with here, we don't spend time talking about suing other people. We spend time talking about how we're going to grow the business. So tell me about times that you've had conversation or shared your dreams and ambitions about growing your business. And it was an awkward conversation for them. Right out of the gate, within 10 minutes, I knew that conversation was over. We weren't the fit for them, because I was so clear on what we're going to cover today. Our core values, our qualities, our traits, our characteristics, the things, for each of our services, the most desirable, the most fulfilling, the most profitable services that we have. I was also very clear about the people, and still am, that I want to serve, and what their qualities, traits, and characteristics were predominantly. Luckily, we deal with entrepreneurs and small business owners. As you know, in a medium-sized business, sometimes small businesses can happen. Like the person you built the relationship with, that person leaves the company and somebody else comes in who's a completely different animal. Not to put that in a negative or neutral context, but sometimes there are negative or neutral people that replace the positive person we were with. And we've had that quite a few times over the last few decades. And I try to make sure we're kind of setting the stage here about how important it is for you and your team, if you have one, to qualify these things and ways to think about qualifying these things. So that being said, let's just jump right into the perspective, the big picture perspective of how I look at that, and how you can too, and how our team looks at it in my internet marketing and development business as well, and what that evolved to be over time. The very first P in that perspective piece, these 5 Ps that I teach, if you've been with us, you know what they are, is purpose. I ask, is the company predominantly about purposefully helping the world somehow? And I do that through the lens of servant leadership. What does that mean? It means I look at the company and say, how are they improving people's lives? And very important part here, is it harming the environment somehow? Is it harming the planet somehow? Or can it harm people somehow? I'll give you context for that in a minute. And or how are they helping other businesses grow businesses? So through the lens of businesses, there's B2B, business to business, where you're typically helping your business is helping another business grow their business. And there's B2C, where your business is helping consumers, the end user, grow, like improve their life somehow. Great example of this is in the pest control industry. So in Southwest Florida, we have a huge issue with the nitrates, an overabundance of the nitrates and the treatments they give lawns to make them green. And when we have our big rains in the summer, all of that kind of overflow goes into our waterways, and it helps aid in, from what the science shows, red algae blooms, which are toxic and tons of fish die, and blue-green algae blooms, which are really harmful. Both of them are harmful to people with lung issues, breathing issues, and it's very harmful to the environment. So like from the pest control lens, what are we doing to help them serve with an organic solution to promote betterment and not harming the world? These kind of things. So we made that clarification back in 2016 that we wanted to be, well, we made the clarification in 2013, but we started to live into it through 2016. And then it became part of our rhythm as part of our process, is that we want to work with companies that are purposeful, that are not harming the world somehow. Does that all make sense? And that became a qualification for us to define our right customer and repel our wrong customer. And luckily, a lot of the work that we're doing lately is around thought leadership, which is an easy one for me, meaning helping other experts. So many in our mastery community, we either help directly or we aid and direct, like we do more consulting and coaching, that kind of stuff. And these people are just trying to help the world be better. Either help individuals live healthier, help individuals have a legacy, help individuals just be the best they can be through high performance coaching and these kind of things. And we're really clear about helping those people, and those people get top priority in terms of who we're looking to attract, who we're looking to keep. And on the flip side, that qualification of that helps us understand who we're not looking to serve and help. Does that kind of help lay the land here? So let's go through the 5 Ps through the lens of attracting the right customers. Purpose is one of them. Again, B2B is helping grow people's businesses somehow. B2C, business to consumer, is helping people improve their life somehow. Passion, positive energy, dominantly positive energy, productive, and we'll qualify these as we come back around through them, and profitable. Now, as I always teach, and you probably know if you're in our mastery community, when you get the first 4 aligned and you're clear about your offers, the last one can happen automatically. So let's break this down through the lens of attracting the right customers. When I think about, and I have it documented, and I challenge you to get out your notes and document this. When I think about the right customer, the dream customer, they're extremely purposeful, and we've covered that. At a B2B level, business to business level, they're helping people grow their business, and they're not harming the environment doing it. At a B2C level, if they're improving people's lives, like a fitness company or something along those lines, they're helping people improve their lives somehow, and they're not harming the environment doing it. Does that make sense? The individual themselves, the owner, the team, predominantly has a level of enthusiasm or passion for what they're doing. I'm not looking for people who are like, I need to make money. It's all about the money. That's just not my people. That's the wrong people for me. The people that I'm looking for have these 2 Ps just dialed up. And you can sense it. You can sense their energy. They're positive energy. Dominantly positive. The example that I used at the beginning of our time together today was that idea of that guy that came in. And right out of the gate, he's using words like Sue, and he's happy about it. And like real quickly, we were able to tell that he was a bully, essentially, with the way he treated the other team member that he brought. The other team member was like accepting of it. And I felt bad for him. And I wanted to like keep him behind and say, hey, you could do better than this. Didn't happen to work out because of the scheduling of that day. But that's the concept here. So they have a predominantly positive open-mindedness, growth mindset. They're about abundance. These are some of the qualifications. So if you're taking notes, put some of these words down and maybe highlight or circle the ones that are important to you. Yeah, that's important to me when I define the right customer. 4th, productive. Productive in the sense that we're going after our life's work. So in a business context, we're really working to serve great customers with world-class services, solutions, or products. If you look into our weekly schedule, you'll see appointments after appointments, and every one of those we can rank high in the sense that that person that we're serving, no matter what it is we're doing for them, is a perfect customer or a good customer. And we're productively taking time with them. When I look at the lens of productivity through our work right now, this time that we're in right now together is me leaving at a 10 plus from purpose, passion, I hope you're sensing it, positivity, and productivity. The best use of me on this planet is being with you right here, right now. Does that help? Am I a good example of this? I hope so. That's my dream, my goal, my desire is for me to inspire, to help, to be there for you, to demonstrate being the results expert where I can, not from a place of being braggadocious or egotistical or anything like that, just so that I'm further down that path of success and you can just model, follow, and make it your own. Does that make sense? I'm kind of painting the lines for you, and you're vibrantly bringing in the colors, the way that you do it, your creative expression along the lines of success, the path of success. And then, of course, they're profitable. We think about the right customers. I wish I learned this lesson early on. There was a lot of people that came in and would want websites and so on, and they thought that the website and the internet was going to save their business when they had more fundamentally wrong things with their business than anything the internet could ever do to fix it. The part that I missed, and I quickly course corrected, was the fact that if this doesn't work, our business is going under. It's all on you. And they were like blaming the fact that their business wasn't successful, and they were putting all this pressure on us. And I quickly developed language that said, whoa, back up. If your business is not already profitable or breaking even, then you've got issues with your business fundamentals. The internet's only going to amplify. Like, it can amplify good, but it also can amplify bad. Meaning you're going to put money into it, and it's going to bring more potential traffic. And if your pricing isn't structured in a way that's profitable, then it's going to amplify the neutral negativeness of that. So we got to fix that before we can do the website stuff. Do you want some help with that? So often when I go through that dialogue with people, they're like, oh, well, I've never really been taught finances. I've never really hired a good accountant or a bookkeeper or a manager to sort of sort that out for me. And so we had to go all the way. They came in for a website and marketing. And we had to go all the way back to businesses, business practice, business service solution products, fundamentals of business, profitability per service, solution, or product. Then we had to go back to their psyche as them as a business owner and talk through this fact that they've always run like without knowing the numbers. A big mistake in business. Can't change what you don't measure. You need to measure your numbers. I hope we're kicking it out of the gate. Knocking it out of the park. Hitting a home run for you already today. Rocking this out. Let's take a deep breath. I know we've covered a lot already. And really think about what this means for you from what I've shared. If you're watching the replay, you might go back and rewatch it all because there's so much gold with what we've covered already. We've really got to dial in. What are we doing? Who are we serving? Who are we supporting? Who is it that we really want to serve and support? What does that person or company look like? What's their values? What aren't their values? What are they saying? What aren't they saying? How are they affecting change in the world? How are they making the world truly a better place? Are they harming the world at all with any of the solutions, service, or products that they promote or provide? Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want to amplify that if your business, for example, is marketing? Whatever that would be. So we got to be really careful about these things. And I hope these illustrations are helping from that perspective. So that's the 5 Ps through the lens of the right customers. Let's go ahead and change now to training mode. Let's rock this out together. So the very first thing we covered in our last training was RAS, the reticular activating system. And the science of this shows that it lives in the primal part of your brain, and it helps your brain with all the information that's out there. Like if you look around in your room or wherever you're at right now, there's millions of bits of information everywhere. But your brain's telling you to focus, hopefully, on the training that's on the screen in front of you. Right now, my whole focus is right here on this training because I'm trying to learn and grow so I can grow my business to be even more purposeful and more profitable. And I can be better doing it too, right? That's the essence of this. So everything else, it's out there, but your brain is fully focused on this. The example that I use, and I love this example, of the RAS in activation mode is when you get a new car. Let's just say you get a white Tesla. And you get in your car and you drive down the road and all of a sudden you see a lot of white Teslas. Like your brain's focused on the white Tesla and you see white Teslas. What I want to take out of this at the meta level for you is that when you get clear about what you want to focus on from the right customer perspective for each of your services, solutions, or products, or at a broader scope, your offers, meaning each offer you're extremely clear about who the person or people are, or the company, depending on what it is, that you want to serve, and maybe even more critical, might be a better way for you to access this, who the people are that you do not want to serve. Does that make sense? Like, these are the people that we want to focus on and serve. These are the people that we don't want to focus on and serve. And when you and your team, if you have one, solidify what it is you want to focus on through the lens of qualities, traits, characteristics, values, what they put into the world, what service they provide to the world, it becomes so clear. It simplifies this process. If it doesn't feel simple yet, then we need to talk. So know, as a Mastery community member, if you're watching this, you have the Zoom roundtable to sort this out for you, to get more depth, more articulation, more sensory here. I'll tell you, that depth, articulation, and sensory is everything. You feed your mind with it, and all of a sudden it sees it. And what you saw as a person or a company is now a high priority person or company that you want to just work with, because they're like on it. They've got the growth mindset. They got a great team. They're happy people. The people report working there that they love what they do, and the product or service or solution they put in the world is so good. You're like, what would it take for me to work with you? Going back to that power questions of exceptional businesses. Hey, email to them. I love what you stand for, specifically these things. Here's what I do, and I think I can help you grow even more. What would it take for us to have a meeting? Like, imagine an email going out to that around focus using the RAS. Does that make sense? Have you sent one of those before? What'd that look like? What would that look like if you did send one? Is that possible for you? Is it possible for your team if you have one? What kind of customers would you attract? This is so gold. I hope you're sensing it. So if you need, I'm going to put some links down in the replay, but RAS, Reticular Activating System. If you're geeking out about psychology like I do, like I talked about last session in our Health, Wealth, and Happiness Mastery Training, go for it. Because when you understand some of the fundamentals of this, it changes the dynamic, gives you new perspective for how to attract the right people and how clearly the wrong people are wrong. And again, it's not that I have a classification for right and wrong, and you're going to have one too, and they're probably going to be different. They may have the same sort of principles, but when you get to the depth of what you do, they may be very different. So I just want to make sure right and wrong is whatever it is for you. I'm going to give you an illustration about what it is for me, and I hope it serves and helps. Second here, critical thing we covered last session, very critical in business. Going right back to that illustration of those two that came into our office, where they talked about suing people and seemed happy about it, is above the line behaviors, actions, words, qualities, characteristics, traits below the line. So when I think about my right customer, my dream customer, they're about ownership, accountability, responsibility. They have generally positive energy, and so does their team. They're about ambition and growth. And their words, their expressions, their physiology supports that. So I'm going to go over that again. If you're taking notes, this can help you flesh out who your right customers are. They're about ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive energy, ambition, and growth. Ownership, like, okay, they're saying this to you. All right, if you're going to serve us, what are we responsible for? What are you responsible for? All right, team, if the team's in the room, here's how we're going to break that out. We're going to be accountable for this. And what are the deadlines? They're going to use language like that. What are the deadlines here? And who's responsible for what? And they may even say, and this is only the people that I've coached in high performance that do this, by the way, that I've ever detected. What kind of energy are we going to bring to this team? Positive, loving energy, Bob. Because they're reinforcing the culture, their vision through all this. Is that helpful? As opposed to blame, excuse, denial, negative energy or neutral energy predominantly, gossip and drama. Let me say that again if you're taking notes. Below the line behavior, blame, excuse, denial, negative neutral energy, gossip and drama. Oh, there were days where I have 6 to 8 discovery sessions when we were in our massive launch of bringing on new clients. This was 2012, 13. And there'd be days where people would come in and they bring their drama right into our discovery meeting. And I was like, pfft. And I had power questions to sort of amplify that. Is this Is this kind of dialogue how you guys usually operate? Because what we've discovered is that when we get too far in the trenches of talking about who's doing what and blaming other people on the team for not getting stuff done, it subtracts from our ability to go out and build quality wording, attractive languaging, even videos online towards growth and what's possible. You guys see the difference here? Just so you know, as a side note, when I've done that work, twice it resulted in the whole team being coached by me. That's where it evolved to. Because I asked this question. It's part of my sales process. I said, would it be helpful if I helped you, coached your team on how to get more out of the blame, excuse, denial, gossip, drama space and more into the ownership, accountability, responsibility? I would draw that on the whiteboard. And they're like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm a certified high performance coach. And what that means is we've got a very clear process that can help you transcend from predominantly being in the red to the blue. And I would usually draw it in colors just like this. Can you sense where that can go for you? If you're a CHPC, a certified high performance coach, and you sense anybody who's living below the line, and you talk to them about, hey, would it be helpful if I demonstrated a model for you? Above the line, below the line? Can I draw this on a napkin for you? You see that what I'm detecting, and I'm not trying to bring judgment here, but I just want to make sure you see this. You're predominantly in the blame, excuse, denial, gossip, drama space, or whatever it is that they're going after. And you're not in the ambitious, positive growth space. Why is that? And they'll talk it through. And then you say, would you like some help predominantly being up here and having tactics to deal with when you get here? Mental triggers and ways of reframing your thinking to live up here versus down here. You see how that can work right inside a sales process if you're blessed to be somebody who can help in that realm? What I have to tell you is that when we attract teams who live here, they're the right customers. We can get stuff done. I don't know if you've had this happen. We've had this happen, especially in the zeros. Spending literally hours on the phone dealing with customers' drama instead of hours on the phone creating content to go out into the world. It's such a waste of time. That's why it's critically important that we qualify who we want to work with. These are great qualifications. Does that help? I wish I had this training when I was just starting in the computer business, 1988. I kind of sensed this. I knew that I didn't want to be around people that were down here. And I have to say, I was probably down here every so often. But this would have helped so much. I hope it's helping you define who your right customer is, your dream customer is. It's so gold. If you need help going after this, like in practicality, please let me know. Get in our Zoom roundtables. We'll work this out for you. Challenge you, and I'm thinking of Patrick and our spreadsheet people, put all your customers in a list and then put in above the line, below the line, an A or a B. Are they above the liners or below the liners predominantly? And that's going to prioritize your list of customers to say, these are the ones we need to double down on and go after. You might have another column that's about, are they helping the world in a great way without harming the world? Yes or no. So an AY, meaning a above the liner who's yes, is, we got to go after that. What can we do to even serve them more? Through the internet marketing lens is kind of, I'm thinking about this. It'd be like, can we just deepen our relationship? Can we ask for a raise? That's how I like to word it. And we're going to add these different services and are going to be focused on bringing in more sales to accommodate for that raise. Does that all make sense where this goes? So powerful. Third, and we've talked a lot about this already, is being clear for the right customers what their core values are, like you're documenting this, what their traits, qualities, characteristics, and their desires and wants. So let's break this down a little bit. Sometimes, and I talked about this in our health, wealth, and happiness training too, it's easier to say, here's the people that we do not want at a core value level, qualities and traits, characteristics level. And sometimes it's easy to put one item per line. And then over here, right next to it, on a whiteboard or a flip chart or in a spreadsheet, say the core value they have. One person, when I did this exercise, they put destructive, destruction. Like that was a core value. And I'm like, what's the opposite of that? Construction. They're constructive. Is the people that we're serving more destructive or constructive? And I'm like, That was kind of a mind blow for me. Do they have a destructive personality, or are they a constructive person with a constructive personality? And I'm like, I love that. That's so gold. What they found was a lot of the people they were working with, because of their industry, they were more destructive. It was in the building industry. More destructive people. Just bullies. Brutal, emotional abusers, like general contractors and stuff. It was just insane to see the behaviors. These people had a skill, but they never evolved their psychology and sociology, like social skills. They never evolved that. They never understood great leadership. And next thing you know, they were in a downward spiral of this. Is that helpful towards the lens of what we're getting at? So I just would never want that for you. So critical that we are really clear in these areas. So let's just kind of break down some values, traits, qualities, and characteristics. Then we'll talk about the desires and wants. Unconditionally loving. Positive. Happy. Joyful. Open-minded. Caring. Compassionate. Inspiring. Motivated. Focused. Purposeful. Passionate. Positive, I already said that. Present, engaged, joyful, confident. So if you're in high performance, you know where some of these words are coming from. But that's the idea. These are the kind of people we want to go after. When we really get that and think that through, revisit that list frequently, maybe once a day or throughout the day, especially before we go into meetings, guess what? Our brain and its RAS, reticular activating system, see it. And we can sense it. And there's an attraction or a repel based on who we're with. Does that make sense? It's kind of like pulsing. Like, yeah, wow, this person is not in alignment with what I believe or who I want to be around or who we want to serve. And it's pulsing. It's a completely different story than just going in and blindly serving, which is what so many small business owners, entrepreneurs, especially when they get started. A couple of the biggest things I've seen, and I was guilty of these too. Customer is always right. That is so not true. Customer doesn't know what's right sometimes. And many times the customer is wrong. And it was up until 1998. So imagine 9 years of me in business believing that and going through the pain of that until I fired my first customer, Kathy, in 1998. She had every one of our services. And she was so toxic. She'd pair our team against each other and just introduce so much drama and blame, excuse, denial, and try to imprint it on our team. And our team wasn't about that. It was like square peg, round hole. We didn't know how to deal with it. She's saying that I would do this, but I wouldn't even think to do that. So I got on the phone with her and I said, and I got all the lists of everything that she had said. And I said, Kathy, here's the things you've said that our team's done. And my team doesn't do this. Like, this isn't who we are. Oh, well, that's kind of what I thought they were doing. Well, here's the deal. You have until 30 days from now to get off our service. And I've got a couple other people who are going to be able to handle this other aspect of how we serve you. But in 60 days from now, you're no longer part of the ISMI realm. We can't serve people who pit each other against each other and live in this. Because honestly, we don't have time for this because we're so busy growing right now, which was exactly what was going on because we were in the internet business when it was in its massive uptick. That we just don't have time to, we just do not have the time to do this, and we don't want to demoralize our team through the things that are coming out of your office. And so here's the scoop. Here's how it's going to break down. Here's what's going on. It took so much courage. What I'm trying to get at for you, that illustration is this. If I had taken the time to sort this out in advance, and I'll put this in right now for you, developed a sales process that finds and filters the right people, Kathy would have never been part of our equation. We were growing. I was inexperienced with a big business, which is what it became. And I didn't really have a pulse on, and we'll talk about this, the numbers. So I felt like I had to take every customer. And that was a massive recipe for disaster. Ultimately success when we cleaned that up in 98. But there was 5, 6 customers out of thousands who tore our team apart morale-wise just because they were nasty people. They would have never made it through our sales process if I had that defined back in the day. Does that make sense? Ooh, So a couple big points here. The customer is not always right. 2, you've got to have a great sales process. You've got to articulate these things. You've got to know what they are. And you've got to hold your team, if you have one, accountable to them. I love what we shared earlier, the power of great questions. Asking great questions is the big reveal. You know, when that guy said, yeah, we sued this, and I said, tell me about times when you sued people and what that looked like and what did they do? Like, I was joyously curious when I was asking that. That's my life theme. And he's like, I'm going to tell stories about when we're suing people. Yes. And I'm on the other side going, you tell me these stories, and if they got meat to them, there's the door. See ya. We don't deal with that. When you say the S word, that's a key indicator for us in our sales process that you need to find the door fast, or we need to boot you. So I just want to make sure you're sensing power of questions here. So core values, traits, characteristics. Let's talk about desires and wants. But before we do that, let's go through the clarity piece here and understand how being clear on these 5 areas along the lines of this is very much the business conversation, can really help us, A, not feel like we have to bring everybody in that we find, and B, really help us understand who it is we want per service, per solution, per product, or at a broader scope, per offer. So I kind of break all that down for you as we step through this. Very first piece, if you have not attended or taken my training on starting from scratch, you will probably not know what these are. You've got to be clear on what your break even is, the amount of money your company needs to survive without losing money. That's the break even. And let's just say for figurative purposes, it's $100,000 a year if you're a solopreneur. $100,000 a year is your break even. I always like to say your comfort level of income, as long as you don't have inflationary expenses, meaning I'm making money, I'm going to go spend it, is 2 times that. So that's the C. Break even is the BE. C is the comfort, 2 times your break even, so $200,000 a year. And then the D represents your dream level of income. I like to set that at 5 times break even. Of course, it can be more or less, whatever it is for you. So we have a break even. We're clear that we know what that number is. Most people do not. Do you know what it is for your business? If you do, just say yes in the comments below or direct message me, because I'm blown away that you know that. If you've taken my training, then I'm not as blown away, because I challenge you to sort that out. Second is your comfort level, 2 times your break even. So in the context for what I've shared, 200K, and the dream level, 500K. So we have to be clear about that, because what happens is when we go to attract the right customer, we can stand tall and strong knowing if we're at break even or better. This is the kind of mentality that people have, that we don't have to accept everybody. We can be more discerning about who we're going to let in. Does that make sense? I didn't know that. I didn't know where we stood in 95, 96. I knew we were doing well, but I didn't know. My mentality was I got to accept everybody. And it really burned us down the road. Luckily, we did not get sued, but we got in really interesting situations that consumed way too much time and energy from me and my team that would have easily been avoided if I had defined this stuff in advance. Does that help? Really critical. So when we know those numbers, it helps us understand, okay, cool. Then we can reverse engineer and say, what do we need to do in an offer perspective? This is what I teach in Starting from Scratch. How many customers do we need of this particular service, solution, or product to help towards break even? How many customers do we need of this particular product, solution, service, or at a broad scope, this offer? So let me give you a little practicality here. If you have an offer for $97 a month for a membership program, or a service contract, IT, for $97 a workstation, there's a couple of people that I've coached in the IT world have these contracts, service contracts, to keep a computer up and running and updated and so on, and security, security updates, those kind of things. If you have $97 times 100 people a month, what is that? So it's almost 10,000 a month. My math is right. Is that true? Times 12 is 120K a year. Like, okay, cool. That's what we've got to do. 100 people a month at $97, 100 people at $97 a month. And that exceeds our break even. Cool, okay. Who do we want to have as part of that 100 people? Who do we, and this may be an easier access point for you, who do we not want to have? The wrong versus the right conversation. So then we have to think through, for each of our products, solutions, services, who is most purposeful? And I hope through the lens of what I shared earlier, when we talked purpose, when we thought about the internet marketing and we were helping amplify people damaging the earth, not our scene. Does that help kind of put a frame on that? If you need more qualification, please comment and we'll cover that in our Zoom roundtable, or we can do that in a discovery call. Most fulfilling. Most desirable. Most profitable. The reason I told you the illustration when we started was A, so we get the gate going right away with value for you, but B, because we're going to be going through this. And what I mean by that is, when we look at each of your offers and the subsequent product solutions or services in them. So for those of you in Kajabi, you can create an offer, and in it you can have different products. For example, if you're in our mastery community, we have an offer, the mastery community. In it we have health, wealth, and happiness training, which was last session. This session is business internet mastery training and a Zoom roundtable. So there's a very clear qualification I have for the people that I want in health, wealth, and happiness. If they were to buy that individually, here's who they are. People who are growth-minded, maybe new to personal development, are just looking for better ways to live, better ways to create, better maintain exceptional relationships and lives. If they want to go into the world of doing something to help others from an entrepreneurial or a business perspective, that's the business internet mastery training. Does that make sense? That's what we're in right now. So you'll see in the lens of what I've taught today, we have the humanity conversation as part of life mastery, health, wealth, and happiness. Then we forward that into the business mastery to qualify for customers. You see how this stacks? Pretty cool, isn't it? So when we think about the product, service, solutions, we have to think about, for every one of them, what's our most purposeful, most fulfilling, most desirable for us, and most profitable product, service, or solution. Remember that example earlier where the people came in and were like, the internet needs to save my business because it's in the tank. And I'm like, your business is fundamentally broken because you haven't sorted these things out. Well, specifically the profitable piece for each of your services. So before we do any internet work, this will help our internet work, let's sort out, what do you actually offer? And of these products, services, or solutions, which ones are the ones that have traditionally brought in the most revenue? And I'm going to challenge you on this, the most profitable revenue, where you have the biggest margin or markup, or maybe it's a pure service thing where there isn't any hard costs, but there's labor costs, those kind of things. So then we work from that perspective. So what you really want the internet to do for you, this is the wording I love to use, is you want it to amplify your profitable services and not promote your other ones. But the problem is your other ones are the ones that have the most business. So it sounds like you have a fundamentally screwed up business foundation. Sorry to say that, but now we have somewhere to work from. You want help here before we go out in the world and amplify. Oh my gosh, so many times, I've never even thought about these things. Why did they not teach me this? Why did I not know this? Some of the things that come up. And the way they handle that, by the way, comes back to this. My ex-wife was supposed to handle this. I blame it on her. I'm like, wrong customer. Oh man, I never learned this. Would you be willing to teach me? Green light, right customer. You sense the difference? Oh, I'm hoping this is landing for you. This is so gold. So we really have to think through this when we get clarity around what we're trying to accomplish and who we want to attract from the right customer perspective and the wrong customer perspective. Like if we think about each of our products, services, or solutions, and we break it down and say, what's the most purposeful use of this product or solution, and who is using it? What's fulfilling about this for me? And what is it that I sense is fulfilling for me to implement this? When I'm thinking through this, I'm thinking about this training, for example. People can just buy the business training. They can just buy the health, wealth, and happiness training without the mastery community. And this particular training can stand alone and will be used for that purpose with a lot of people that come into my world looking for guidance and help. What's most desirable here? Like if I'm going to grow my business in the right way, my dream would be to have, back in the day when I set this out, 100 people at the mastery community level. We're changing that as I go into season 5, and I'll be reflecting on that in the near future for you. But 100 people at the mastery community level at $297 a month. You do the math, that's a lot of income. That's the desire, because I want to serve that many people at that level. Now, the trainings themselves, they can go out, as we talked about many sessions ago, in an infinity offer, because I don't have to be involved in the trainings. You can do that at your own time and your own thing, and I don't need to be involved there. You're watching me train you. But at the mastery community level, there's only so much of me that can go around because of our Zoom roundtables and our check-ins. Does that make sense? So I'm just trying to break this down a little bit for you. And what's the most profitable piece? And what does that look like as we get clear around that? And then as we reflect that to the right customers, what are we doing here to promote, to market, to sell these things and attract the right customers while repelling the wrong ones? Does that kind of help frame? So number 4 is, now you have to define your dream customer for each. And you've got to think through the core values, traits, qualities, characteristics, desires, and wants. That's where I want to hit on this. For each of your products, solutions, and services. And the key operating word here, we've been doing this a lot with so many people I've been working with, is making the desires and wants relevant to what the market wants right now. Right now, for whatever reason, coaching, you being a certified high-performance coach or a specific coach for a specific result, is taken off like crazy. It's becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry from what I've been reading and seeing. And I'm sensing it. So we have to be really clear about who it is we want to coach and what their traits, qualities, and characteristics are. Now, they may live in an acute way into more blame, excuse, denial right now because they're in a world of hurt. But they better have a quick ambition or an ambition towards being of the above the line mentality. And I'd be challenging them on it if I brought them in. Does that make sense? Some people, they're in such pain that they only know blame, excuse, denial, hurt right now. But our job, if we're in the world of high performance, is to uplift them, help them create a better future vision, and then take decisive action to live into it. And that might be a dream customer for us. So it's the phrasings, the thoughts, the words, the habits that they have now that we're going to shift and work with them to shift. And that's just the beginning of the dream customer exercise, to really go after that. So we really have to think through the dream customer for each of our services, solutions, or products. So when I think about health, wealth, and happiness training, the dream customer, somebody who just wants perspective on living a better life. When I think about the high performance coaching, somebody who's ready to take action and be coached towards making it real and having a better quality of life. Like they're further down the path of growth and commitment. Does that make sense? Is this helping at all? 5th item here, and this is so critically important, and I think you sense why, is defining the sales process. And I do have a training on that. A couple sessions back, we did that training of exactly how that can work from the best practices of persuasion and psychology, and then finds and filters the people that are the right fits. What does that mean? It means that your sales process has such great questions, even an application in the front end, that really helps you get a great read on a particular customer to find out whether they're the right customer or not. And you get sort of ninja-like in the way you ask those questions and the tells they give you. Oh, I love this. Who knew through the power of an application using Google Forms or Typeform or any of that, that if somebody went in there and said, Char, I need your help, and then they went through the application and they said, instead of answering some of the questions, and they're like, doesn't apply, doesn't apply, doesn't apply. And then I turned around and said, hey, you know what? I saw tons of doesn't applies in there, and I'm going to disagree with you. So if you really want to meet with me to have a discovery call, which is part of my sales process, right? 20 minutes, we sort out whether, what your struggles are, what your ambitions are, whether I can help you. You really got to go back in and answer this. Otherwise, there's probably somebody else that can help you. Whew. So much time saved. So wish I knew that in the late 80s. Not to date me. I know I look so young. Rocking it out with you. Going after it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this helps. These illustrations, these life lessons. It's like, if I only knew. That's why I'm telling you and helping you and illustrating for you and then challenging you on these things to really get this stuff dialed in. So we really have to be clear about our sales process. So if you go through any of my applications, you'll typically see words like what's your dream here? When was a time in your life where things didn't go your way, and how did you handle it? Oh, that's such a good question. If things go well over the next 5 years and you're looking back on it, what do you have to do? How would you feel happy with that progress? Describe how you'd feel happy with that progress. That, by the way, is lifted from the Dan Sullivan question. If you don't know what the Dan Sullivan question is, Google it. So incredibly powerful. So as part of your sales process, you have them do the heavy lifting, and then you're able to use that information in a one-on-one, maybe discovery call, or as a way to guide them. Hey, you know what? It seems like you don't really need one-on-one coaching. What we need are these 3 trainings that will really help you in these 3 areas so that you can be better, do better, and then the people around you will feel it too. And here's the 3 trainings. To get access to them, click this button, buy my Health, Wealth, and Happiness training monthly program. And you can cancel anytime, risk removal, by the way. And get into those trainings. Once you're done with those 3, let me know. I'm your concierge, and I'm going to help you get that training you need. And then if you decide you need more help at a one-to-one level, after you're done the training, we'll have that conversation based on my availability. ... You see how there's scarcity, urgency, directed path, growth, and commitment on their end? Part of the sales process. Part of that upsell, if you will, down the road for coaching. Really critical languaging here. Is this helpful for detecting the right, or attracting or putting words out and applications out to find the right customers and quickly find the wrong ones? Wrong can be whatever it is for you. Just want to make sure we're clear on that. Cool? Oh, it's so gold. Next up, as we think this through, is we have to be very clear about, and this is so important with what we've been talking about, the feelings, the outputs, and the outcomes that we want to achieve with our right customers, with working with our customers. So when we look at through the lens of the high performance coaching journey, the feeling is every week for 1 hour, we're going to dive into a session topic, start with focal points, then clarity, then energy. So week 1 is focal points, week 2 is clarity, week 3 is energy, week 4 is courage, week 5 productivity, week 6 influence. And we're going to go in there, and I'm going to command and ask that if you aren't coming into this with an open, growth-based mindset and in a good place, that we move that session to next week. We're getting in command of our energy, and you need to know that as we step into this work. Are you committed to that? See, that's a qualifying question. We talked about great questions make great businesses, to attract the right customers and get the commitment from the right customers. And we have a really good process, a really good set of outputs, meaning we're going through a process with a very clear outcome. High performance, baby. So we're clear about how we want to feel, and we're commanding, sort of illustrating and challenging others to feel a certain way as they enter into our world. Imagine a world where your customers come to you and they're like, Char, I know, today I'm not in this. And you're like, you know what? For the hour that we usually spend together, I want you to go out, take that walk, live into the way you reset, recharge, rejuvenate your energy. So next week, we get right back on track and you own it. If you have any extra time, please review last session's notes and any of the previous ones and see where we need to do more work for you. Because you'll know in session 1, we're clarity about who you are as a person. Right now, it sounds like you're out of sync with that. Session 3 is energy. We got to be clear about the energy you're bringing. And it sounds like, and I want to commend you for this, you are not in the right energetic place for our session. This is what I'm talking about with feelings, outcomes, outputs. Going right back to that example, the guy starts talking about suing us. Not us, but suing in general. And I'm like, tell me about a time when you sued and what showed up? And I was like, door, bah, 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 you know? And he was all about, it was their fault, da, 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 da. And he was only in this space. That's not the feeling that I want for me or my team. There's been many instances over the years where a couple of our customers either brought in a partner who lived in the red, and we had to call that out, and I had to make the call and say, you're treating my team with disrespect, first, and second, you got to find somebody else for this, or we got to readjust our relationship. Because when you brought in person Y, the dynamic of this changed, and now we're dealing with more drama than we are with more project time. And this is on your bill. And I don't feel ethical about billing you for drama. I feel ethical about billing you for the forward motion we're trying to make on your project. And they were like, really? I kind of sensed it, but I didn't see it. And it was really an interesting dynamic. But that's because we got clear on these things as we thought this through. Feelings, outputs, outcomes. The other area that I love is to know. And it comes back to Steve Jobs' quote. If you go into the mirror every morning and you're saying no to wanting to go into your day more than you're saying yes, it's time to reevaluate what you do. If you're going into your work with a specific customer, feeling a sensation of, don't want to be around that person. It's a pull, not a push. I mean, a push, not a pull, like you're pushing yourself to deal with them versus being pulled into this to be like, I'm ready, let's go. I'm looking forward to our time together. Then you really got to reevaluate. That might be the wrong customer. You got to think about ways, and I've got quite a few, and maybe I'll illustrate a couple for you, of ways to tell them, you know what, we're no longer a good fit. So let's just go into an illustration right now for you. When we think about people support what they create, which is a principle in high performance that we teach, everything's a co-creation. And you decide that, over the last enduring period of time, we'll say 3 months, when I've gone to work on your project, I sense a neutral and negative energy here. I don't think we're a good fit anymore. So how would you word that with a customer? Hey, have you felt a downtick in energy in the last few months as to the way we used to be when we started your project? Great opener. Well, yeah, kind of. I said, because I felt that. And I've just been trying to assess whether we're still a good fit for each other. Do you sense that we're still a good fit for you? Do you sense that, when we think about the way we want to feel as we go do the work together and the outputs of that work and the outcomes those outputs lead to, do you sense we're on the right path here? So you see how I'm leveraging questions, co-creative questions, right around food. Pretty powerful. Do not worry if you don't have that sorted out. Watch the replay, write it down, practice it in the mirror, and make it your own. Gold right there, baby. So final part of our training today is great relationships plus powerful questions. And if I'm writing on the board, you better be writing in your notes. That's the way this rolls, right? Great relationships plus powerful questions equal exceptional businesses. Like everybody's on the same page. We're in alignment. When stuff comes up, like neutral and negative things come up, there's a feeling at the core of unconditional love. Hey, you know what? This just hit the fan. Don't worry, we got you. We got this. We'll get through this together. And there's a belief and a feeling that sort of volleys between you and your customer. Yeah, we got this. Let's just handle this together. We're going to bring the joy, even though this is a crappy situation, and see how we can make it work. We'll right the ship. We're going to go after it. You sense how that can be? So is that happening for you? Are you facilitating that? Do you feel like you need to up-level that part of you or your team? What shows up there for you? So when you qualify the core values, traits, characteristics, desires, and wants, think about the kind of relationship you want over the long term, especially if your offers, the product, solutions, or service you provide, the way that they buy it, is in a recurring format. We'll go back to high performance coaching. About 3 years ago, I got rid of all my singular offers, meaning that you could buy 12 sessions with 4 bonus sessions for X. And I just said, high performance coaching with me is this price per month, 2 sessions. That's all I offer. And we're going to go through for as long as you want until you say stop. 48 sessions is what we're blessed with. But of course, I'm doing focus sessions and diving deeper on certain sessions and so on. And that became my main offer. And it really helped. But I have to be the right person to show up, to keep that relationship alive. Ask great questions. That's the arc of coaching, basically. But make sure that I'm in it every single session. It doesn't feel stale. Or why is Charlie's not on it today? Is this still something he wants to do? Da, 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 da. No, I'm in it to win it, to go after it. Does that all make sense? Whew. Incredibly powerful. So let's kind of recap what we've talked through here. To how to attract the right customers and repel the wrong. First, you have to be clear about what we're built from as humans with the RAS, Reticular Activating System. What we focus on is what we achieve, what we go after, what shows up in our life. Does that make sense? Second, we got to be clear about some of the ways we articulate who we want to deal with and who we don't. If anything else, if you took nothing else away from today and you just went after customers who lived here and turned away customers that lived there, our work is done. If the customer is predominantly in a blame, excuse, denial, gossip, drama, neutral, negative energy place, see ya, we're not your peeps. If, on the other hand, they're of the ownership, accountability, responsibility, positive, ambition, growth place, then you're my people. What can I do to support you, serve you, and help you grow? Next, core values, traits, qualities, characteristics, desires, and wants. Going through the lens of the 5 Ps. Are they putting good in the world? Are they improving people's lives? Are they harming the planet in some way? Are they good people? Are they passionate? Are they positive? Are they productive? Do they have things sorted out from the offer's perspective, if that's part of your business? And are they dialed in and you're going to help them grow their business? You're going to help them improve their life, whatever that is that you do. Foo, are you clear and are they clear about the feelings you want to have when you're working together? The outputs that you're going to work on for them and the outcomes that you're going to achieve together. Are you discussing that? Bringing that into the conversation every so often as a great leader. Hey, you know why we're doing what we're doing with you? Because we believe what you do really helps the world be better. And we're honored to be on a journey with you. Do you say words like that? That's very important to feel that from your heart out and for continuity. So it's like you've got to get there if you want that quality of relationship, which is the last piece. Great relationships, powerful questions, exceptional businesses. Love that. Then we talk through clarity. Are we clear on our break even, our comfort and our dream? Break even 100K, comfort 2 times that, 200K, dream 5 times that, 500K. Are we clear on each of our offers? Are we clear on our most purposeful, most fulfilling, most desirable, most profitable product, solutions, services? And who's a good fit for them and who isn't a good fit for them? Do we have a dream customer for each? Have we articulated, and if you have a team, as a team, to sort out who they are, what they're buying, what they're reading, what they're not reading, what they're not buying, what social circles they're in, what groups in Facebook they're in, what LinkedIn groups they're in, where they're participating online, where they're not participating online. Sales process. Once we get somebody as a lead into our realm, do we have a sales process that finds and filters even before we talk with them? Great applications. Whew. This ends the training part of our work in this beautiful training on how to attract the right customers and repel the wrong. Now let's walk through the action list. Walk through the clarity realm. Take or retake the trainings. The beautiful part is we've got trainings for this, for this, for this. We've got trainings for this, and we got trainings for that. And I'll make sure that, I think it's all in season 3 and 4. So I'll make sure to link to those below for you in the replay. Second, define and assess you, your team, your referral sources, existing and future customers. Describe them sensorially. I would challenge you to make a rating system. What I mean by that is this. If you said our dream customer or our team, traits, qualities, characteristics, it starts from you out, we're purposeful, passionate, positive, productive, and profitable. And we took the first 4 Ps and put them in a list. And then at the beginning of every team meeting with our team, how purposeful have we felt in the last week? Are we still committed to our job, our beautiful way of serving the world, our mission? How passionate have you felt last week? Where did it fall off if it did? What can we do to help each other stay engaged, enthused about what we're doing? How positive have we felt? How productive are you feeling? Where are you falling out of that? What can we do to help you there? Can you imagine on a weekly basis keeping that rhythm? So incredibly powerful. Same story with existing and future customers. Are we still aligned with what they're doing? Do we feel, you can feel the ebb and flow of relationships with customers. Like, do we feel they're going off on their own in a different direction? Do we feel like they need some help? Hey, is everything going okay? I've noticed lately that when we've talked to you, your energy's dipped a little bit. Like assessing that and having that as a part of your ongoing continuity, customer experience process. Does that make sense? We didn't talk about that. We talked about the sales process. But as part of your customer experience process, checking in on the mental health of your customers. Really critical, depending on the industry you're in. And I would challenge you, I think that most industries, because it's very much a part of great relationships, being caring and compassionate. So making sure that we describe this sensorially. Like, what are we doing? What are we feeling? What are they doing? What are they feeling? Going through the senses. Touch, taste, smell, vision, audio, all these kind of things. Number 3, solidify your intake and sales process. This is so gold. Get the applications out there. Hey, before we can get on the phone call, please fill out this application. Do your best to answer it. Give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to answer it thoroughly, because it's really going to help us gauge whether we can help you and move forward in our conversation that we've got. It's only 20 minutes long, and we'll make sure we nail it for you, and then decide how we might be able to help you moving forward, and if you're a good fit for us. That language is gold. Wait, I might not be a good fit for you? I better fill this out. Or not. And if they don't, they may not be your customer. Continually connect and evaluate. And I was getting at that with that customer experience process and through the team meetings, is to have some way of assessing yourself. And if you need the basics, this is the basics. Assess yourself. How, when problems have hit in the last week, was I owning them? Was I accountable for them? Did I take responsibility? Did I bring good energy? Was I ambitious? Okay, the problem hit. Here's some solutions. Let's go after them. Was I about growth? Or did I sit here too long? Dang it. Wasn't my fault. Somebody else's fault. Did we sit in denial, negative, gossipy, drama energy? Nope. We transcended to above the line and rocked it out. I hope this helps. I know we've covered a lot. So often, what we learn from psychology and the way people learn is to rewatch the training. Come back through it. Once, twice, 3 times. What people have reported is the 3rd time through it, they get it. Something clicks. And they're able to really make some change in their psyche, in their being, in their watch, as we talked about last session, their words, their actions, their thoughts, their character, and their habits. Thanks, Jim Quick, for that. The guy rocks. That being said, this ends our training on how to attract the right customers and repel the wrong. The basic overview. There's a lot more depth we could get into. That might be an advanced training down the road. If you have any questions, I'll see you in our Zoom roundtable for our Mastery Community members. Otherwise, comment below. Let me know. We will own this for you. Thank you so incredibly much for being here. Honored to be on the journey with you. I'm sending you positive, loving, healthy energy, thoughts, and vibes. And we crush this. Rock. Yeah. Peace out.